Could Christian Wood be the guy for the Celtics with the 15th open roster spot? Let's talk about it. I'm joined by my good friend, Mr. Cody Shalafu, the sports broadcasting extraordinaire. Cody, what's popping, dude?
Adam, it's what a pleasure it is to be back here with you.
It's been a hot minute, man. It's
Hot
been
minute.
over a year, dude.
Yeah,
over
I
a
know.
year. So I want to jump into it. I like to keep these ones nice, short and sweet. The Celtics have got an open roster spot in the 15th spot. They really only realistically have the veteran minimum available. They do have a TPE, a traded player exception from the Grant Williams trade, but if they use it, they're hard capped. If they go and do a sign and trade, they do have a taxpayer mid-level exception available. If they use it, they're hard capped. The Celtics are already spending far too much goddamn money, so they're going to be a veteran minimum team in terms of trying to fill that final roster spot. One guy that's out here, as you like to say, in these streets right now, with no deal for God knows what reason, is Christian Wood. And Christian Wood could be available on a veteran minimum deal. Now, the Celtics already have Al Horford, Robert Williams, and Kristaps Porzingis as their big, as in literally big, and also big free-man rotation at the center spot. But Christian Wood could come in and give you an additional offensive punch and potentially push Luke Cornet out the door. He's on a partially guaranteed deal. Where do you stand on Christian Wood?
I like Christian Wood, but there's the thing where it's like you see all the stats, you see he's shooting threes, he's doing what he's doing, and it's like you said, how is he not have a deal? There obviously has to be something in play here. Broke out when he was with the Rockets and a little bit with the Pistons, kind of showed that guy, helped my fantasy team that one year. On a bad team, he puts up these stats. He goes to Dallas. I'm not going to sit here and say I watched every single Dallas Mavericks game. I'm not a liar, Adam. I didn't. I saw a few, but he kind of got pushed out of the rotation a little bit. He was supposed to be a nice complementary piece to Luka and what they had going on there. Kind of once the trade deadline came and went, he was kind of just pushed out of that rotation a little bit. And why? Is it defensively? Obviously, offensively, that's where his game shines. He will stretch the floor a bit. So who knows? There's probably 100 people that might know more about why he was out of the rotation than me, but he was out of the rotation for a reason, and that is a red flag. He still hasn't signed, which might be a little bit of a red flag, but is he the guy that could come in and just play a few minutes? Potentially. I mean, we've seen players like this who, the ball, the ball don't stop. Twitter loves him, but the analytical Twitter hates him, and he comes in and goes to a contender on a minimum deal, kind of regroups his value, and then goes sign somewhere else next year for a decent chunk of change. I'd love if he was that guy. There aren't too many options available that could actually get playing time. Like a lot of the guys looking at that center forward rotation that's left out on the market, it's not exactly the best of the crop, and you only have the veteran men to play with anyway, so you're not going to get a best of the crop guy. But Christian Wood would be nice to get. Offensively, I think he brings a lot to the table. Obviously, that's just depth and some insurance for Rob and Al. I expect Al to kind of take a decline this year. I think the last 2 years we got out of him were awesome, but he's 46. He's gonna be pretty soon. He's
what is he? 46 is a push. Got me saying here just because I find it funny. Let me pull up his age.
This season. 38.
He's old, dude. I say he's old. He's barely older than me. He's 37. He's just turned 37 56 days ago. Shout out to Daddy Al.
Yeah. So the guy I'd love him to be, but we'll see. I mean, there's a couple guys that are out there that maybe you do is Blake Griffin being brought back, the guy to help or whatever. I'm not sure, but I love Christian Wood. It's just a matter of why isn't he being signed?
I mean, he's not being signed because everybody sees him as a defensive liability, right? And this was the problem with Dallas. They signed Christian Wood to kind of give them the floor spacing for Doncic to be able to penetrate off the dribble, pressure the rim, do his playmaking out to driving kick actions. What they didn't realize is the amount of defensive fall-off that's going to happen once you put Doncic and Christian Wood in that same starting five is tough to overcome. Mm-hmm. And then you add Kyrie Irving into it, and now all of a sudden, there's just, where's the defense coming from? So there is a big negative there, especially for a team that wants a two-way threat. When you have a big man, you do kind of rely on them to give you some, at least rim deterrence. So players are a little bit tentative about trying to attack the rim when you're there and drop. No one's tentative attacking Christian Wood. No one. No one in the world. That everyone's a lumberjack when it comes to Christian Wood. They're chopping down that tree.
Oh, I see what you did there.
You see what I did there?
I got you.
So if anyone saw the screen mess up a little bit ago, I wanted to just pull up some Christian Wood highlights and just see what we've got. So we got to get through the ad first because, I weren't fully prepped. Okay. So we can full screen this here. Let's go and have a look at some Christian Wood highlights. There he is pointing. That's a highlight. There he is running in slow-mo. That's another highlight. Let's jump ahead to some actual basketball. Okay. And we can see this is mostly going to be offensive. Nice little catch on the short roll, finish. He's going to give you that kind of entry pass option. He doesn't really have the passing game to be a short roll guy in terms of what you see from Rob Williams, but he does have the shooting ability. Here we go again, short roll. Oh, good pass, just as I said he can't pass. There we go, catch me out. But, I want to get your thoughts on what you're seeing here. There's a veer action, straight in for the entry pass, and then finish around the rim. I like veer actions in general.
Yeah, I mean, obviously offensively that's where he shines. That's where he got paid what he got paid. He's a tall guy, but that like you said, defensively that's where you're going to struggle with. He can shoot fine. He can obviously do all these fun things, put on the deck a little bit, finish through traffic. He has a little bit of that short roll pass capability. Obviously, like you mentioned, kind of that's not something that he hangs his hat on, but can do it every once in a while. But he has that floor spacing ability. And if you want to go super offense, if you're kind of in a lull and you're getting beat by a team because you can't make anything, you just throw in your Oppenheimer offense, we're going to call it now. You just nuke everybody. If that becomes a thing, let me know. You heard it here first. But that could be where he can shine and give you valuable minutes in the regular season.
I mean, he's also going to give you an ability to play a little bit faster. Porzingis isn't really the quickest of guys. Rob will give you that rim running ability, but again, he's been working on building out his pick and roll game with some mid-range shots and some short roll passing. Christian Wood is just very, very, what you see is what you get. You get that pick and pop, so he'll fit into Joe Mazzulla's offense on the perimeter. You get that short roll offense, so he can help create for guys that are cutting baseline or cutting under 45 cuts. We can get rid of this now. We don't need to see any more. Plus, I really don't like that advert. Don't know why. I just find it really stupid. I think he gives you a little bit of everything you need on the offensive end, right? But he doesn't give you anything defensively. Now, could the idea of going zone help that? Because the Celtics have the length on the perimeter and the wing to try and protect Christian Wood a little bit more than what Dallas did, or could. That's an option. I mean, we're talking about a veteran minimum guy who's going to be third, maybe fourth in the rotation.
Right. Yeah. I think when it comes to Christian Wood, if he's on the Celtics, that's the role he's going for. I think the thing is, who do you play him with defensively? Because obviously he's a tall guy, but doesn't give much or any kind of rim deterrence. You don't maybe want to put him at the 4. Again, not going to sit here and say I watched every Christian Wood game the last 3-4 years, but putting him on the perimeter, I know the Celtics like to switch and do their things. Is he's going to be a mismatch? We've had the Celtics have had defensive liabilities on their team before, but they've all been really point guards. You had the Kembas and the Isaiahs and all that. It's easier to hide them than it is to hide your 7-footers because, if your center or your 4 or whatever is weak defensively, it's easier to exploit than any other position on the basketball court. And if he doesn't give you much in rim deterrence, you can't just kind of stick him there and let Rob run around. I know Rob's had his struggles, with getting out in the perimeter. He has these insane moments. You're like, wow, this guy is going to defend every single person. Then he has his moments where he gets lost. He's still kind of learning in that regard. So who do you play him with? Does he work well with Porzingis? Does he work well with Rob? Does he work well with Al? Does he work well with just kind of the bench unit? A combination of Jordan Walsh or whatever other wings and maybe a Tatum to help. I know he's a very good kind of off-ball help defender. So who do you play him with, I guess would be the big question. Like which one of those bigs or do you just sacrifice it all and then again go with that Oppenheimer offense, just nuke everything, but you're going to give up some points on the other end?
I mean, my kind of mentality is you either put him with Al Horford and go double big and have that like floor spacing 5 out with 2 3-point shooting big men, one that can really pass in Al Horford and one that's a really good pick and roll weapon in Christian Wood. Or you kind of slot him in with Jason Tatum next to him and let Tatum really apply the pressure on those digs and stunts and be the guy that forces players into making mistakes as they kind of run themselves into Christian Wood rather than just trying to hunt Christian Wood. Here's a fun question for you. In all of his career, what percentage of minutes has Christian Wood spent at the 4?
Oh, okay, I'm not going to look. I'm not going to cheat. I do have the basketball reference page open, but I'm not going to look at it. At the 4, I'm going to say he spends 11% of his career at the 4.
22%.
Well, okay, it's half.
That's not great. Like, it shows that he's capable of playing there, but teams try and avoid it as much as possible. I'd assume that when he plays the 4, it's either because teams are going big, like really big, or because they're short in the rotation due to injury, or a guy's just not having a good game and they're trying to just throw things at the wall and see what sticks, right? So I'd say Christian Wood coming in and being pretty much like 100% at the 5. Last season, he played 87% of his minutes at the 5. The 2 years before with Houston, where he was really popping, 100% of his okay, there's no need to drive like that, you prick. 100% of his minutes came at the 5 in both seasons. Yeah. So, that was his breakout time as well, right? With Houston. That was when he really put his name on the map. You want to keep him there as much as possible. And you want to limit his defensive role. You want to limit the minutes he gets realistically, but give him enough to rebuild some value. So when he hits free agency next year, he can get a big contract. So to me, players look at that like, can I go to this team and they're going to put me in a position to have a solid year and potentially sign for more money than what's on offer right now? The Celtics pretty much tried to do that with Dennis Schroeder before they decided that Dennis Schroeder was killing them, so they traded him away. But the idea is you get a guy that's not really got any offers coming in, and you get a higher level talent than what his contract is, and then he goes away and earns more money next year. And another player in a similar situation would then consider you as a potential landing spot because you've got a consistent track record of getting guys paid. Right. So I think this is a good option for Christian Wood. I think it's a good option for Boston. Now, the question is, would there be too many bigs in the rotation? Do you think there's too many then?
Yeah, I think obviously there are more moves to come. Whether that's wing depth, guard depth, whatever depth, I don't think this roster we see right now is what's going to happen come October, November. I think there will be another signing again of Christian Wood or whatever, but I think you do need a little bit of another big. Because I think again, how many games before like can Rob play full set like 70 games in a season? Can he do that? We haven't seen it. I would love for it to happen, but has he played that many games? No, he usually gets probably a month or two out of the rotation just because of little dings and injuries or a major injury like we've seen the last couple of years. Al, again, he's going to be 98 coming up soon. So love Al, my favorite, but he's an older guy. You saw him kind of teeter off in the playoffs when he wasn't shooting 72% from behind the arc like he did the year before. And you kind of, the Celtics fan, it kind of almost feels like you wasted those 2 years of Al. He didn't win a championship, and that was the time too, with Al still playing tremendously. Not saying Al's going to be a bench guy next year, but you'd like to give him some rest. You'd like to rest him on back-to-backs. You might not want to throw him out there for 38 minutes against a Houston, against a team that's at the bottom of the barrel, like a Washington or something like that. So I think everyone has been clamoring for another big, and I think this is the year I think you do it. I think, again, with Rob, nothing not on Rob, but has he played, how many times has he played over 60, 65 games in a season? Again, and with Al being older, I would like Christian Wood. Bismack Biyombo's out there as well. I would love Bismack Biyombo personally, but if you're out of on him, Adam, I'll trust you. And
No, I think he's good. I do. I just think if you've options Bismack Biyombo or Christian Wood, and both are going to be signing for a vet min, I want Christian Wood.
I think the upside, I think the ceiling is definitely higher with Christian Wood. Is the floor higher with Biyombo? I think those definitely are two guys where like Biyombo's definitely better defensively. He gets you rebounds. He averaged like 1.1 blocks per game in like 14 minutes came into that Phoenix team the last 2 years and has really played well with them. Only getting 15 to 10 minutes a game, just going in there doing the dirty stuff and just being a reliable guy. Christian Wood, obviously, if he peaks, he's getting signed for 4 years, 15 somewhere next year because he played so well. Biyombo, I think, will going to be a vet min guy the rest of his days. But those are, I think, the two only realistic. A, they can sign for the min, and B, they can actually give you minutes.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I want to just say that you do realize Al Horford is only 2 years older than me, right?
Right. But Adam, this is, in the podcasting years, you're a young man. And NBA years, Al Horford's,
ancient.
He's defying time.
Well, I mean, yeah, but we're getting into a point now where, like, Chris Paul's still an elite guard. He's bordering 40. LeBron James is among, what would you say, still top 5, top 10?
Yeah, he's at least top 10. I think it's hard to knock him out at 5, even though we're all Celtics fans. That's LeBron James.
Yeah, he's nearly 175.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like, these guys, like, the people are lasting longer these days. They're taking better, but they take better care of their bodies than I do. I know that much for sure.
They eat their Wheaties. They do their yoga. They eat avocados for dinner or whatever they do. Shout out Al Horford drinks chocolate milk, and that's what keeps him on the court.
I do like chocolate milk, and I will say that the rest of the guys are all on the West Coast where avocado is kind of like, I don't know, that's like water to those people. It's a necessity.
Yeah, it's like they're born and their first word is avocado, please.
With that, please let us know that if you want Christian Wood on the rotation in the roster. Do you think the Celtics could get him for a veteran minimum? And would that spell the end of Luke Cornett? Would that be the end of the Luke Cornett, the Cornett contest, the Green Cornett? I don't know any other nicknames for him, but, he was another bus one boy. It'd be sad to see him go. Everyone, show some love to my boy Cody. Cody, where can everyone find you?
On Twitter, I refuse to refer to it in its new name. It's still Twitter, always will be Twitter. Cody Shalafu 33. I'm like one of the 4 people on the planet that doesn't have an Instagram, but hey, maybe that changes soon with whatever's going on that other social media platform. But follow the Twitter again. Adam mentioned I'm a sports broadcaster. I usually tweet out a link. If you have nothing to do on a Thursday night because the Celtics are off, come watch me call college basketball or something. Come hang out. I'm always a fun time. So, Adam, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here on the Adam Taylor NBA channel.
You know it, guys. Everybody, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll be back again tomorrow. Cody, man, you're going to be a regular rotation guest on here because it's been far too long, my brother.
I better be. I thought I was
getting
bro. Out. I was getting
never
treated like the X.
Don't be calling me not Elon Musk. Everyone, catch y'all later.